Good morning. Welcome to Bible study. Our Bible story today comes from the book of Numbers. Numbers can be found in the Old Testament, the first half of our Bible. Last week, we worked on learning and remembering the names of the first 10 books in the Old Testament. Let's review those today, and as we do, I want you to listen for where you can find the book of Numbers. And if you have your own Bible, I challenge you to get it. You can pause it and get it now, or you can do it later. But I challenge you to open your Bible and see if you can find the book of Numbers in it. Let's begin by saying the names of the first 10 books of the Old Testament together. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, Joshua, Judges, Ruth, 1 Samuel, 2 Samuel. Okay, now I'm going to take one away and see if we can still say them all. Are you ready? Genesis, Exodus. What comes next? Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, Joshua, Judges, Ruth, 1 Samuel, 2 Samuel. Now I'm going to take another one away, and let's see if we can remember them now. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, Joshua, Judges, Ruth, 1 Samuel, 2 Samuel. This time I'm going to take 2 away. Can you do it with 2 less? What's the first book of the Old Testament? Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. What comes after that? Joshua, Judges, Ruth, 1 Samuel, 2 Samuel. Let's take 2 more away. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, Joshua, Judges, Ruth, 1 Samuel, and 2 Samuel. Now 2 more are gone. Only 2 are left. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, Joshua, Judges, Ruth, 1 Samuel, 2 Samuel. Now none of them are written on our screen. I want you to see if you can say all 10, the first books of the Old Testament. And then I will say them with you. But you get started at Genesis. Okay, now let's say them together one last time. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, Joshua, Judges, Ruth, 1 Samuel, 2 Samuel. Great job! It's fun to learn the books of the Bible together. Now it's time for our Bible story. But before we read it, I have a question. Have you ever met an animal who can talk? I've seen a parrot once who had a few words it could say. But a talking animal that can have a conversation? I've never seen one of those. Well, maybe in a cartoon or on a TV show, but not in real life. But did you know there is a story in the Bible with a donkey that talks? And that's our story today, Balaam and the donkey. And yes, the donkey talks to Balaam. So listen and let's learn together as we read their story. Balaam, the donkey, and the angels, from Numbers 22 through 24. The people of Moab were shaking in fear. The Israelites were camped near the land of Moab, where Balak was king. King Balak called for his messengers and commanded them, "Find the prophet Balaam, pay him to put a curse on the Israelite people who have come up from Egypt." Balaam asked God what he should do. God answered, "These people, the Israelites, are my people. They are blessed. Do not listen to Balak. When you go to these people, say only what I tell you." Balaam left on his faithful donkey. Suddenly, the donkey saw an angel standing in the road, holding a sword. The donkey turned off the road and went into a field. Balaam hit the donkey to turn it back onto the road. Later, the donkey saw an angel again in a narrow path. It pressed against a wall to avoid the angel, and Balaam's foot scraped against the wall. Balaam struck the donkey again. When the angel appeared a third time, the donkey sat down on the road. Balaam hit the donkey with his staff. God opened the mouth of the donkey, and it said, "What have I done to you to make you hit me 3 times?" Balaam said, "You have made a fool out of me." The donkey asked, "Do I usually behave like this?" Balaam answered honestly, "No." Then God let Balaam see the angel standing in the road with a sword in his hand. Balaam bowed down so low that he fell on his face. Balaam said, "Forgive me, I did wrong." The angel told Balaam to listen and obey God. So Balaam continued on his way to meet King Balak. When he came before the king, Balaam said, "I am telling you only what God tells me to say. Anyone who blesses these people, the Israelites, will be blessed. If you curse them, you will be cursed. God is with these people. They are God's people." You know, it was pretty obvious that Balaam was frustrated with his donkey. But I wonder how the donkey felt when Balaam kept scolding it. I wonder what the king thought about Balaam's blessing. You know, the king wanted to curse the Israelites. I wonder when or if you have ever wanted something bad to happen to someone. I also wonder when and how you have been a blessing to someone. You know, there are all sorts of things that are blessings to us. And so we are going to end our Bible study by saying a blessing prayer. And for this prayer practice, you have everything you need. All you need is one hand. For your thumb and each finger, we are going to name something and thank God for a different blessing. And these blessings can be anything. It can be a person, a toy, a favorite food, something you're good at, a place you love to go, or an animal, whether it talks or not. So think of things or people who are blessings to you and say thank you to God as you raise or touch each finger. And if you're feeling especially grateful, you can use both hands and thank God for 10 blessings. Thank you for joining us for Bible Story today. And when the video ends, I want you to say your blessing prayer. Thanks so much for joining us today. And thank you for being a blessing to me. I'll see you again next week.